Oh, hey there, friend. This is Anne. Grab your coffee and let's have a quick heart to heart. Have you ever said yes to something that you didn't want to do? And then you spent the next 3 days wishing that you had said no? And then the guilt starts and even resentment starts to set in. I shouldn't feel this way. Good Christians are supposed to help, right? And now they're going to think that I'm selfish. Friend, if setting boundaries makes you feel guilty, I want you to know you're not alone. And I want to show you why guilt doesn't always mean that you're doing the wrong thing, because there's such a thing as false guilt. So picture this with me. You're in the grocery store. Your phone buzzes. Can you bring snacks for the youth group tonight? And you glance at your overflowing calendar, and then you remember your kids need supper. You left a mess in the kitchen. That's what you're coming home to. And the dog needs to go out. And you haven't sat down all day. So you take a deep breath. Sure, you grit your teeth. I'll pick up some snacks. Halfway home, you're gripping the steering wheel and you're saying to yourself, why did I say yes? Why do I always do this to myself? Have you been there, friend? Well, I've stood in the church foyer muttering under my breath, I don't even want to do this. And then immediately feel that guilt and even resentment. Excuse me. And I wasn't angry with people. I was exhausted. And exhaustion is a way of revealing what our mouths are actually afraid to say out loud. Hey, friend, I'm Anne, and if you've ever struggled with boundaries or people-pleasing or overthinking what to say, you're in the right place. We talk about all of this here. Today, I want to talk about how to set boundaries without feeling guilty. Now, Brené Brown said it this way. She said, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. Ooh, that's good, isn't it? Because compassionate women, they don't want to disappoint anybody. In fact, we'd rather disappoint ourselves. We'd rather skip the appointment that we put on a calendar for ourselves, and we'd rather run ourselves ragged. We'd rather carry things that God didn't even ask us to carry so that we don't disappoint other people. Somewhere along the way, we confused being loving with having no limits. But here's the truth that changed me. Boundaries are not about controlling other people. Boundaries are not about being mean to other people. People who have good boundaries appreciate your boundaries. Boundaries are about stewarding what God has already given you, whether it's your energy, your time, your relationships, your calling, your health, your peace. Colossians 3:23 and 24 says this, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So, friend, I want you to notice what Paul didn't say, because he didn't say, work for everyone else's approval. He certainly didn't say, make everyone happy. And he didn't say, make sure that no one is disappointed with you today. No, he said this, do what you do for the Lord, not for anyone else's applause, not because you want someone else's acceptance, and not because guilt is yelling at you. You know when guilt is yelling at you. It may sound like, but they need me. I can rest later. Well, if I don't do it, no one else will do it. That's familiar to me. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt anybody. But what if I'm being selfish? What if they're disappointed in me? What if they're disappointed, period? Or I should just be grateful that they asked me. Or maybe this one. Perhaps I'm being lazy. Just because you can carry it, it doesn't mean that God has asked you to carry it. Love says yes sometimes. Now, wisdom says not always. And maybe this is where confidence begins. Not with becoming louder, certainly not, and not with becoming harder. God asks us to keep our hearts soft to Him and to other people, and not with finally getting everybody to approve of you. But confidence begins with learning to stand in who God says you are, even when someone else wishes that you would do more. That's confidence. And confidence isn't in perfection. God is not about that. Confidence is not about performance. Confidence is about steady trust in the God who knows you, the God who loves you. Because loving people well shouldn't mean that you lose yourself. And can I just say something that might be really freeing for someone today? Someone else's disappointment, it's not always evidence that you've done something wrong. Phew! I mean, isn't that a relief? Sometimes other people's disappointment is simply what happens when their expectations are not met, or when something changes and you just can't do what you said you would do. And mature relationships, by the way, they can survive that kind of disappointment. Jesus disappointed people, not because He wasn't loving. He disappointed people. Can you imagine with me for a minute the crowds? They're pressing in on Jesus. There are sick people everywhere. There are needs everywhere. And Jesus, He sees it all. His heart is so moved that He weeps. There are expectations everywhere. I can feel the overwhelm that Jesus must have felt. Jesus, the Son of God, here He is. He's walking away. He's walking away to be alone with the Father. And not because He doesn't care, but because He knew that He couldn't heal everybody in one afternoon. He was about His Father's business. So friend, if Jesus wasn't available to everyone, why do we think, or why do we believe that we have to be available to everyone? I mean, I feel the relief in that sentence. I feel the relief in that thought. And that's a powerful thought. So I want to give you a simple tool for how to set boundaries without feeling guilty, to stop the guilt. Number one, I want to call it the pause, pray, and ask. So number one, pause. Because most people pleasers, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and we can skip straight to the yes. But confidence grows in our pause. So I want you to pause. And instead of answering right away, I want you to say, I want to give you a script. Let me think about that. Or can I get back to you? Or I want to pray about that. Just take a pause, friend, so it'll give you a moment to think and to pray. You do not owe instant access to everyone. That's a good one, isn't it? Can I just say that again? You do not owe instant access to everyone. So take a pause. Secondly, pray. And I don't want you to pray, Lord, how can I make this person happy? I want you to pray, is this mine to carry? And thirdly, ask. Ask yourself some gentle, curious questions. I love curious questions. I find when I can pause my judgment and I ask myself a curious question, I get a better answer. Because I think curious questions, they create ownership. And ownership really creates that transformation in our hearts. So try asking yourself this in prayer. What am I afraid will happen if I say no? What am I afraid will happen if I say no? Am I seeking peace, or am I seeking someone else's approval? Am I acting from guilt, or am I acting from God's conviction here? Great questions. And notice what I didn't tell you to release. This isn't about me giving you all the answers. This is about creating space for God to meet with you and speak to you about what it is that He's calling you to do. Because awareness, when we pair that with compassion for yourself, that is where real transformation can begin in your heart and your mind. So pause, don't answer immediately. Pray, is this mine to carry, Lord? And ask, what am I afraid of? Am I seeking approval? What would faithfulness look like? Maybe you've been thinking, I should just do more. Or, why am I so tired? Or, what is wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. Maybe you've just been carrying too much. Maybe you've been trying to earn the right to be accepted through wearing yourself out. Because God never asked you to prove your worth. He settled that already on the cross, right? So, friend, you don't need to become less loving. Maybe you just need to stop believing that love means saying yes to everyone and everything. Confidence isn't about becoming hard-hearted, and it isn't about becoming unkind. It really is about becoming honest with God and becoming more aligned with who God created you to be. That's really exciting to me. So maybe this week your bravest act won't be doing more. Maybe it'll be trusting God enough to do less. And that's not selfish. That, my friend, is stewardship. So if this video encouraged you, you probably feel right at home here on the Tuesday Brew with Anne. And I have another video for you on boundaries and guilt called How to Say No Without Feeling Guilty. Boundaries for Christian women. Check that out. This space is for compassionate Christian women who want to grow in confidence through boundaries, self-talk, and communication without losing the kindness in their faith. So if that's you, go ahead and subscribe, grab your coffee, and I'll meet you back here next month. And before I go, I genuinely like to hear from you in a really simple way. If you've ever felt guilt for trying to set a boundary, just drop me a me too in the comments here, or drop me an emoji, raise your hand, or, no explanation needed, just a quiet, I get this, me too. Because I want you to know this, you are not alone, and you don't have to keep carrying everything all the time to be faithful, to be a faithful, loving woman of God. God's grace is not asking you to be everything to everyone. So, have a peaceful week, my friend, and I'll see you back here next time on the Tuesday Brew with Anne. Bye for now.